How's everybody? Good. Well, it was certainly good to get back out there and start practicing and try to build some identity, for this team in terms of what they want to accomplish and what they want to do. And, my message to the players going out there was everybody needs to embrace the target. That means be the best player you can be the best version of yourself. The individuals on the team will make the team what it is. So that will make us be the best team we can be. I think as a team, you kind of play the games in the off season because that's where you develop the fundamentals of discipline and hard work and togetherness and leadership and a lot of things that contribute to how consistently you can play in the fall. It goes a long way to create the kind of identity that a team has in terms of standard of toughness and how physical and together we are, the kind of depth that we have, how people embrace new roles on the team. So, I try to emphasize to the players that I know you all want a depth chart, but the depth chart is an organizational instrument, right now used so that we can organize practice. And, the players are in competition with themselves to be the best player they can be, play with the best intensity, the best knowledge of their position so they can execute and do their job and gain the trust and respect of their teammates. I think that's what every player should aspire to really try to do. So we had a good first practice. We got a long way to go, especially in some positions where we're a little thin, where we lost a lot of players, and I think where those players are, where those positions are. So, we're going to keep working to try to develop that depth. And, we got 4 or 5 guys that are sort of out for the spring, and then we only had 5 mid-year guys, so we probably have a few less numbers than what we've had in the past in the spring. But that will give us plenty of opportunity to work with the players that we have. And obviously, I think we're going to need some contributions from some of the players that we recruited, especially in some positions where we're a little thin. So we do have some injured guys that probably are going to. Anthony Jennings will probably hold out for the spring. His rehab is going extremely well, but we're taking it easy with this injury. This is not something that I think you want to really mess around with too much, and he'll probably be full strength by the beginning of the summer. Josh Jacobs had ankle surgery, something that he played through with the season. He may be able to come back at some point in the spring and do some drills. To what degree, I don't know. It depends on how he progresses. Matt Womack had a foot, same thing that 3 other guys had last year, sort of a Jones fracture type of thing, and it got repaired. It was bothering him all during the off season. He actually injured it further walking up or down the steps over spring break, so he's going to be out. Keaton Anderson had a shoulder. He'll be out for the spring. Kendall Randolph got an Achilles and off-season program, so he'll be out for the spring. Tua, hurt his thumb today in practice, taking him to Birmingham to get that evaluated, but probably going to require some time for him to get back. And I don't want to speculate on what the injury might be. But most of the time when these type things happen, it takes a little while for him to come back. So all these guys that we're talking about, some will be back by the end of the spring, but everybody will be back by the fall. So we're excited about the young guys that we have that we're working with, and got some good players out there, and the attitude has been good in the off season, and we're still searching for leadership and what this team and these players are going to tolerate from each other in terms of how good they want to be. So that's going to take time to develop and see how it transpires.
Okay, start in the back left with Cecil.
I have 2 questions. First, and now it would be speculative given Tua's situation, but I assume that means Jalen will sort of continue to take most of the first reps.
Well, Tua obviously, I think in a few days, Tua will probably be able to do some things. But when you hurt your thumb on your throwing hand, it's kind of hard to grip the ball. So I think that's going to be the issue, is whether he's able to throw it. He and Jalen were splitting reps, and, you know, we're giving both guys an opportunity and see how they compete and see how they do. So we don't have any decisions. We're not speculating on any decisions, but we're just going to be fair and honest in terms of how we give both players a chance to compete.
And the second one, just to follow up, Keith Holcomb wasn't out there today, and is he going to be out there this spring, or is he going to play?
Well, you know, Keith wanted to sort of give baseball his best shot. I mean, Keith would be a fifth-year senior. He's been through 4 spring practices here already. You know, I made him a promise when we recruited him that he could play baseball. He's always tried to do both. We met after the season, and, you know, I said, look, you've been through plenty of spring practices. Why don't you just play baseball, do the best you can in baseball? All right, when baseball season's over, you and I will sit down and decide whether you want to come back for your 5th year or not. And that's, you know, what he's doing. So he's just totally focusing on baseball, which I'm good with, and would love to have him come back in the fall, but I hope he chooses to do that.
Come back over to the right with John Senior.
How have Tua and Jalen's kind of mindsets been? Because either one of them could probably take the attitude that it's their job to lose. So how are they embracing the competition?
Both those guys have been great. I mean, I know that every time I stand up here, you're all going to try to make something out of it that it isn't. It's 2 good players that both can contribute to our team, and we're going to both give them an opportunity to do that. And they've been great with each other. They've been great for each other. They've both shown leadership, you know, for our team. So they're both important to our team. So I don't really have anything to say. I know you all want me to make something up that really isn't there, so you can make a big deal out of this, but it's a competition just like there is at every other position.
Come back in the middle with Michael. Skip you. Come back over here to Mark.
I know you guys do a lot of experiments in the springtime, but we saw Devontae Smith with the cornerbacks. What about him even makes him worth giving a look there?
Well, you know, he could play corner, but that's not our plan for him. Look, we don't have enough guys in the secondary right now. We recruited some good players. Hopefully that they'll come on in the fall. They're not here in the spring. Savion's the only guy that's here. So, you know, we've done a lot of this kind of stuff. Christian Jones, you know, we taught him how to play defensive back. So what we do is an individual, which is when you're there. So I should probably change this and let him go with the receivers while you're there, and then I'll work with them when you're not there. Then I wouldn't have to answer these kind of questions. All right, but just to be totally transparent, like I always am about everything that we do, you know, he works individual with the corners. All right, then he plays receiver the rest of the practice. Now, I'm sure your next question is how many reps is he getting, and who's he splitting time with, and who's he competing with, and what team's he on, and where's he at on the depth chart, none of which we have an answer for. So I'll just take the questions right out of your mouth.
We'll go in the back middle with Reiner.
Obviously, you changed over your coaching staff significantly. What was the overall?
I didn't have a choice.
I know.
I mean, you make it sound like I did it on purpose.
What was the overarching strategy in kind of bringing some of these guys aboard collectively, and how long do you think it'll take for them to be fully indoctrinated into the
I
system?
think they're all working hard, and they're got a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of new ideas. You know, I'm excited about our staff. These guys have been great. You know, they're really aggressive recruiters. The players like them. You know, I'm really excited about them. You know, I mean, I really am. Now, there's a lot of changes on our staff. I can't deny that. You know, we got a new defensive coordinator. We got a new offensive coordinator. We got a new special teams coordinator. We've got 6 new faces, you know, around here. But they all seem to fit in, and they're all doing extremely well. And I'm excited about them, and I like every one of them. And to be honest with you, I think we're very, very fortunate and hit a home run with the guys that we were able to hire.
Come back over here with Charlie on the right.
Kind of sticking with that coaching theme, how weird was it not to look over and see Burton Burns coaching the running backs and how confident are you in Joe Panunzio that he can step in and make that transition from tight ends to running backs?
Oh, Joe's done it before. You know, Burton's still around here. He's watching the film every day. I think if we got too far off base in any way, shape, or form, that, you know, he certainly would speak up in the staff meeting and, you know, all that type of thing. But, you know, Burton's going to make a tremendous contribution to our organization in a lot of other areas. You know, I mean, I think we administratively need some oversight in some areas that we can improve on, whether it's player development areas. I know we've got a great record of academic support, but I think everything that affects a player and every person who affects a player is something that I want Burton to have constant interaction with, whether it's medical staff, nutritionists, academic folks, recruiting, just in every way, shape, and form to bridge the gap a little bit between administratively, organizationally, so that we're all staying on the same page. And I think, you know, he wanted to do this. This is not something that I made him do. You know, it's worked out really well so far. It's been very, very helpful to me.
Up front here with Dwayne.
Coach got two quick things. One, offensive line, you got Prischbacher at center. How do you like that look? And then two, Wills being at that tackle spot, obviously. Womack's out, but what kind of experience do you think Wills can get out of this that's going to help him later on?
Well, you know, we think Will and Alex both are very good players. I mean, Alex played great in the national championship game when he had to go in there for Jonah. You know, this probably won't be the first experiment that we have in the offensive line in terms of who plays where. You know, we feel that Alex and Jonah, you know, both can play left tackle, but I think Alex could play someplace else. I think Jonah could play someplace else. I think, you know, Jedrick Wills might be able to play someplace else. So the goal is always to get the best 5 players on the field. We may experiment with somebody else playing center at some point in time, you know, as well. So I really like both of those young players, and I think that, you know, you hate it when a player's not out there competing and playing, like Matt won't be able to do this spring, and you hate to see guys get injured, but he'll be back in the fall, and I think this will just give these young guys more reps and a better chance to sort of make progress themselves and you know, acquire more knowledge and experience. It's only going to help them get better.
Last two, Joe and then Alex.
Nick, you have such a highly competitive team. Guys are always thinking about maybe transferring when they're young. What's your message to them to try to get them to stay when they are considering that?
Do you have some proof of this, or is this just a speculation on your part, or a generalization, or something you read on the internet? Or, I mean, nobody's came and talked to me about transferring yet. So, I mean,
you've had young quarterbacks transfer in the past. What's your message to them?
Well, you know, I think that the thing that I try to get guys to do is not have an unrealistic reality about their circumstance and their career as a football player, what they want to try to accomplish, you know, as a student and developing a career off the field, what kind of person that they want to be. And I think with all the information out there, sometimes that's a little bit easy to get a little unrealistic about, because basically, you know, every athlete, every guy, when you're a senior in high school, you have goals and aspirations and things that you want to accomplish. But when it comes to developing your career, you're rolling the dice as how that works out. All right, how you're able to compete, how you're able to sustain, what kind of player you're going to be. And it makes it even more difficult because, you know, all the people out there that are the so-called experts on Scout.com and all the people who give them 5 stars, they create an expectation for these guys which is unrealistic. So it's an unrealistic reality, that world that we live in with a lot of young players, and I feel badly for them, because what I like for them to do is just focus on what they need to do to be good players and not worry about trying to meet all the expectations and standards that people have created for them. And I think in some cases that contributes to guys making not great decisions about what they do in terms of their future, whether it's transferring when maybe they shouldn't, or like we had a couple guys transfer, they'd be starting here now. I mean, they hadn't started any place else yet. So what good did it do? But we love for everybody to be in the program. We love for everybody to finish the program. Sometimes when guys see that they may not have an opportunity to play, they got to weigh the fact of, is playing more important someplace else where I think I have a better opportunity to play than it is to stay here and be a part of this program. We encourage them to stay here and be a part of the program. It's not personal. I help guys go other places if I think that's going to help their career, and that's what they want to do, and that's the best thing for them. So, you know, it's just a part of the business I think we all have to deal with.
Last one here with Alex.
Obviously, we saw Butch out there today. You know, can you elaborate on kind of what his role is now with the team and just?
Well, he's an intern, an analyst. You know, I mean, I guess we could have several names for it. He can't coach on the field. He can work with us off the field. And he today was actually the first time that he was cleared by the NCAA. That, you know, we have these things, these rules, and I don't even know what they're called. Like we can't hire high school coaches, we can't hire people that have recruited other players that we're recruiting and all that, so you have to go through a process with the NCAA. So that finally got completed today, so now he's officially going to be, you know, part of the staff here.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.